Hey, peace and blessings to you. My name is Jerry B. I am the EntreMusician, and so are you. And so is this wonderful gentleman we're going to have a conversation with today. I should say a great conversation. Here's why. We've done all kinds of shows already on crypto, the metaverse. We've introduced some people who have their own crypto labels, but some of us are still kind of hitting the snooze button on what we need to do as independent artists and creatives to get into that space. And this brother, Brandon Davis, is going to help hook us up. Now, I got to tell you, I finally found someone who hustles harder than I do. I had to wear a shirt just to convince myself that I'm even in the same neighborhood that Brandon is. It's so wonderful to have been introduced to him. And without further ado, let's just say, what's happening, Brandon? He's from Music City Crypto. Break it down for us, brother. How are you doing today, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing great, Jerry B. It's an honor to be here. And we're not just in the same neighborhood, man. We're all beginners in this space. My friend John Mediana, who helped co-found NFT Nashville,
Mhm.
said, we're all beginners here.
Wow.
When's the last time we all got to be beginners together at something? And
Well, I
that's the
don't
essence.
know. I don't know. I mean, I think that's a great analogy, but I gotta tell you, I do feel, as we were talking earlier, that, I have some projects that are on the horizon that I feel I'm a little behind the eight ball with respect to understanding everything. So I'm grateful that you've come on to just help explain it to us. So, we may be in the same grade school, but you're definitely fifth grade. I'm the kindergarten.
Hey, you know what? It's an honor, to be in the mix. And Gary Vaynerchuk says, hey, before you try to really figure out what you're going to do in this space and with this technology, get your 50 hours in education, proximity, connecting, spend time, whether it's at a conference, on a
Mm-hmm.
Twitter space, on listening to things like this,
Mm-hmm.
and give yourself some time to really acclimate, learn, connect. And we suggest the same thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be 50 hours, but give yourself some time, give yourself some wiggle room to really be able to grow into what's happening. Don't expect yourself to get it overnight, because this is one big elephant we're
Mm.
all taking bites out of a day at a
Wow.
time.
Well, that's excellent. That's great advice. Gary V always gives great advice, and thanks for passing that on to us. But I want to know a little bit more about you, Brandon. Before crypto, before you got into this space, are you a musician? Are you a creative? What was life like before crypto for you?
Wow. In my teens, music became a way not just of escape, but to find purpose.
Mm.
And by the time I was in my early 20s, I went through a radical transition where my life, I was radically rescued, um, started to go on a spiritual journey,
Mhm.
and I found myself enjoying more the promotion side of the business. I found myself really, I liked the stage, but I liked putting people on that stage. And I also enjoyed even more the green rooms, the
Mm.
opportunities to connect the musicians
Yeah.
behind the scenes. And I was really blessed to have mentors, twice my age and 100 times my experience, to really kind of pull those gifts out, whether it was in marketing or promotions. And there was a gentleman by the name of Larry Koval, where I really kind of interned and was able to really kind of pave my own way in the Cleveland music scene. And guys like him, Londi Vicarone, Silver B. Richards, um, Epic, Sam
Mm.
Lapanza, amazing mentors that really gave me a hand up. Shout out to Cindy Barber, Cleveland Rocks, past, present, and future,
Yeah.
has been part of my journey.
Wow.
And so, being part of organizing those musicians, those artists, I got really passionate about entrepreneurship. And Rob Critchlow, who's a tech pioneer and co-owner of RCR Recording Studios in Solon, Ohio, he really helped turn me on to leadership development.
Wow.
John Maxwell, especially, um, and all that stuff. And so I started to have a passion to want to bring that leadership and entrepreneurial things into the music realm and artist realm. And, we really wanted to do a artist incubator co-working space in Cleveland, but then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So what do you do during the pandemic? We took what we were doing on the ground and took it to the cloud. Zoom meetings, virtual summits. That's when we were really able to help with some of the virtual concerts and stuff. But my friend Paul was hosting a Shark Tank style webinar, and for some of his clients he was coaching, asked me to be a guest panelist, and the light bulb went off.
Wow.
Let's start doing virtual summits. Let's do the Music Tech Media Summit. We started doing that. That led us into the Web3 space, where we started hosting weekly events, the Music Tech Media Hour. And we just got to know the movers and shakers and just connect the dots with, okay, here's the people we already know. Here's the people moving in the space. Let's bring them together. So it's kind of like an organic flow into crypto. I was interested in crypto. I was doing some micro investing in crypto, but it became more about the ecosystem of crypto culture, Web3, NFTs. And it's like, this is the space we've all been waiting for. We didn't know.
Right. Well, what most, was the magnifying attraction to crypto, especially in the music space? I mean, why can't artists afford not to get into crypto? How can you explain it in basic terms?
Okay, well, one light bulb moment for me was when I was going on this app called Clubhouse, and I got pinged in the room at like 3 in the morning, 3 in the morning. I wake up, and next thing I know, I'm in a room with MC Hammer, and this isn't a dream. This really happened. I'm in a room with MC Hammer getting schooled by my future friend, Natalie. And I'm like, why is MC Hammer looking into this? Why is he spending 2 hours in the middle of the night learning about NFTs from this girl, Natalie? So Natalie became a regular guest on the Music Tech Media Summit, one of our advisors. And we were like, I was just like, I saw Blau, Dead Mouse, these other musicians in this space. And, you can tell a lot about who's coming into something. And when I heard Mark Cuban and Gary Vee, I'm just not a naysayer on a lot of stuff, So when you hear Gary Vee and Mark Cuban talking about this, it was around that time when the light bulb really went off of NFTs is the way. It's like you take the trends of where things were already going with music, with Patreon. Patreon became a huge thing, especially during the pandemic.
Right.
For artists to go direct to their fans, crowdfunding, Indiegogo, these WeFunder, these sites where people are crowdfunding already, and bands and artists. NFTs is a way that you can bank on your community. You can partner with your community. You don't necessarily need a regular label or even a regular publisher. You can still leverage those things for marketing purposes, but you can really bank on your people. You don't need, you heard the 1,000 true fans.
Yeah.
We have friends that are making the case that you can do a successful NFT project with 100 true fans, 100 true community members. And it's a way to reward your fans for believing in you and your project and what you're doing early on also.
That's a great answer. I'm going to ask you to unpack that even deeper because, many artists that I talk to tell me that they don't know where to go. I mean, there's this digital wallet over here, there's, Ethereum over here, and they don't have what it seems. And there's a lot of information out there. It's not like you can't go on Twitter or that you can't go on YouTube and find hours of video, but a basic roadmap of how a particular artist gets into it. It's not like signing to Sony or Universal or Warner Brothers or anything like that. Do you, when you talk to and consult for artists, do you point them in a basic roadmap to get their song from here onto the blockchain with few detours?
Yeah, and that's getting your song on the blockchain. It's like getting your song on the blockchain or figuring out what projects you're going to do on the blockchain is almost just as important and key as you would getting your music on a regular DSP, digital distribution service provider, whether it's CD Baby, TuneCore, Sony Orchard, whoever you're teaming up with to do your distribution.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just the key that's opening the door.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what you're packing the house with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's important. It's important to have a doorway, a gateway to your music.
Yeah.
But it's also, but the bigger picture, I think that because a lot of people will be like, oh, I made this amazing piece of music. I put it on Spotify. Now everybody's going to know me. No.
Right.
What's your marketing plan?
Mm-hmm.
What's your, and if you're just putting thousands of dollars into Facebook ads and stuff, you're missing the point. It's like throwing a lot of gasoline on a fire without any wood.
Understood.
You got to have relationships. So to kind of bring it around to that process of, yes, we can direct people to the different platforms. It's still very early. Some platforms that were here a year ago aren't even around today.
I see.
So it's all about trust
mm-hmm.
and relationships in this space. Because if you don't have the ability to connect with people and really grow those relationships, this is, Gary Vee said it, I think best, this is the rise of social capital. Your social capital, your relationships, the value you've already been bringing to people in your community and the value you're to bring is going to act more as a currency and complementary currency to whether it's regular USD, crypto, whatever you're using to pay for things. You're a big piece of that's going to be relationships.
Gotcha.
In now and in the future.
And people have to be able to trust you. So you've already made a statement as an artist. So they trust you. And as you go deeper into the metaverse, deeper into Web3, then they're just following you there, which is why you don't need 1,000. If I'm understanding correctly, 100 may work very well for you as long as all that you offer as a creative already has some value socially with your audience.
Even let's start at 10. If you had 10 people that wanted to go on your personal journey or your journey into the future with you, and 10 people were paying you $250 a month.
Understood.
You know, this isn't rocket science. I mean, I know it seems like, because we hear NFTs and a lot of people say, I don't get it. Well, you still don't get how email works.
That's true.
You don't know what's powering the blockchain is what's powering these platforms. But we don't look at, a lot of us still don't know how a www.com, we don't know those details, but we know the use case.
Yeah.
So what we encourage people is spend time, get your hours in and catch this thing. Catch how it applies to you. Learn what other people are doing, but see where you can really do something, because there's a lot of untrustworthy people that have been in this space, and it's almost like multi-level marketing, right?
I see.
There are good multi-level marketing companies, but from a public standpoint, there's been a lot of bad multi-level marketing or a lot of bad experiences. That doesn't mean the thing in itself is wrong. So it's creating proximity so you can just make up your mind for yourself, so you can overcome the doubts of other people, which leads back to developing yourself.
Understood.
Don't make the song, don't make the project your core thing. Make growing you, because the healthier you are, that's going to be your core community, whether it's 10, 100, 1,000 people that you're serving. Those are the people that are going to invest in your token, in your NFT, in your project.
That's fantastic. I'm glad that you touched on that, because I wanted to ask the question about separating truth from hype, because, you'll read an article that says, well, Snoop Dogg just bought, he spent whatever and bought real estate in the metaverse, and people are going, wow, well, that's attractive. And it's like, yay to artists, but how could I ever do that? How could I ever get a foothold in there? So separate that for us a little bit.
So I want to point you to a few key people that I think So people look at Snoop Dogg, but what a lot of people in the headlines don't see is spotty Wi-Fi, or what people called Spotty Pippen in the this was early 2001. He became known because he bought something called a CryptoPunk, which is an NFT. And then what he did was he put his music, he made that a music character and started releasing music and made a whole music persona out of his CryptoPunk. And that when Snoop Dogg saw Clarence, when he saw what was happening with McGill, aka Spotty Wi-Fi now, that's what inspired him to want to take Death Row Records and turn it into an NFT label. So Spotty, when he did a collaboration with Death Row, he was the guy that Snoop would attribute to helping inspire that. And so look into Spotty Wi-Fi, SPOTTIE Wi-Fi, WIFI. Another great case study is a guy named Sammy Arriaga. Sammy Arriaga literally was in the country music rat race for years in Nashville. Took a couple years, went home to Miami, somehow took his marketing mastermind that he has, got into this crypto NFT space, became a student of NFTs, started buying some, learning the deal. And Spotty Wi-Fi, or not Spotty, I'll take it back. Spotty Wi-Fi did like, I think $200,000 in 60 seconds on his drop.
Wow.
And he's one of the guys that's still supporting his community. He's still very active. He didn't go anywhere. He's still part of the fabric. Now Sammy did 200K, but Sammy did it in 60 days.
I see.
But then I'm going to tell you another guy named Pip from Cotton Candy Records. Look up Cotton Candy Records. He did a crowdfund where he made probably over 90 days, whatever it is, $20,000, $25,000 in crowdfunding from NFTs.
Oh.
So Pip, Spotty Wi-Fi. There's a woman in Nashville named Liv Charette. She's, funneling a lot of her TikTok followers into her core community. She has something called the Discord. She has these are the kind of things where looking at projects that you're attracted to that bring value. Find something, whether it's, Roy Future Man Wooten from Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. Yeah. He's exploring right now how he can make an NFT and offer that to students or to his people that want to learn from him also, that builds for his bigger picture film project and music, multimedia, franchise-esque, model that he's working on. So it's finding the people in this space. And there's, many people like, now I can't guarantee you're going to get Snoop Dogg on a call or even Spotty Wi-Fi. Yeah. But there's many people who will answer your direct messages if you write them an email or you want to start a podcast and start interviewing people. Yeah. Carve out your own niche in this space and you watch what happens.
Yeah, that's absolutely excellent. Well, we've talked about different trailblazers and whatnot, but let's talk about your company, Music City Crypto. Tell us who you are, what you do, and how you can help us.
Wow. Music City Crypto came about from, we have an advisor that came from the Nashville Entrepreneur Center named Tim Martinez. Sat down with Tim during one of our advisory sessions, and Tim said, "Hey, I know you're really focused on the music tech media side of things and building that up." He goes, "But I really want to encourage you to help bring together the blockchain community here in Nashville." Now, I perceive that as doing that locally and globally. I saw it like, tying in the music tech side, but really I was in a position to really help bring some of those people together. And one of the first steps I did was I went to Miami, the North American Bitcoin and Blockchain Conference. I believe they rebranded as Quantum. And I caught fire out there. It was one thing from interviewing people to on the Music Tech Media Hour and being on the ground out there. It was contagious. Mark Cuban had spoke out there. I met some of the movers and shakers in the space. And I said, what's next? Well, one, that's where Music City Crypto was birthed.
I see.
And we started traveling the country, connecting and throwing pop-up meetups and going back doing virtual meetings, YWeb3 webinars, and bringing some of the media people in the space together. And that really gave us an opportunity over time to build up our consultancy, to be able to guide and advise companies, brands, musicians, artists, entrepreneurs, to help connect them not only to each other, but to this new Web3 space and accelerate their social capital.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the heart. Well, one of the groups we came alongside and got to collaborate with early on was NFT Nashville. And that was founded by, he's our chief, John Mediana from Executive Brand Growth and co-founder NFT Nashville is our chief marketing advisor.
Wow.
So Dylan Smith from Team Checked, when you connect with us, instead of you having to do everything a la carte with everybody and find this person and do that, we take a more holistic community approach to business, community, social capital development.
Yeah.
And we can go ahead and build a customized program for you to be able to navigate into the space and accelerate your process.
So that's you as the artist, or you as the author, or you as the company. I mean, you work from a community standpoint for all of those creative content creators everywhere.
We focus on the one, but we develop that relationship, whether it's Andrew Schiffman, who's a very trusted person in the music and ticketing NFT space. You know, we've seen Andrew really become one of the stars, not stars as far as like he's out there having a project, but the people who are trusted consultants in this space being courted by some of the biggest companies in the world.
Wow.
So when it comes to music and NFTs, it's like, you know, hey, we got friends, whether it's, you know, we're partying with a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
We try to make this journey fun, take some of the headache out of it, and you know, bridge the gap between a big conference setting that somebody could be overwhelmed and just bring it down to a personal. Let's say we've been able to have media room, you know, be at a media room in a conference and do a podcast style roundtable with some of the movers and shakers from the conference. So, you know, you can go to a conference alone and try to navigate that, or you could team up with us and we can find a way to really help you have a better time and multiply your investment.
Oh, that's absolutely excellent. How do people get in contact with you or with Music City Crypto?
You know, we're doing a revamp on the website, but it still works. We still have some of our advisors and people you could see on there. MusicCityCrypto.com, www.musiccitycrypto.com.
Yeah.
I also encourage everybody on here. I'm still Music Tech Media on Twitter. I encourage everybody to get a Twitter account or use your Twitter account and start listening to the Twitter spaces that are happening. Feel free to DM me. I could be one of your first guides on there to just point you to a few key people. Music Tech Media on Twitter. And my Instagram's connected to MusicCityCrypto.com also.
That's excellent. Well, before I let you go, I want to ask somewhat of a double-sided question. So you see both sides of the coin. First of all, you know, you alluded to earlier that some of the companies which were in this space are no more. So I'm going to ask you, first of all, what do you think the future of the metaverse, NFTs, this crypto is? Where will it be in, say, 5 years? But on the other side of the coin, what do you see right now as some of the biggest barriers of a widespread adoption of crypto? So I know that's heads and tails, but if you could kind of unpack that for us.
Yeah, if it's all right, I'll do the second one first.
Sure.
The barriers is you have a lot of developers are leading the way in this space, and they're not necessarily marketers. So Donald Miller from StoryBrand, Dave Ramsey, John Maxwell, we need your stuff, guys. You know, whether it's coming through Jerry B, you know, with EntreMusician, or coming through Claudio 1 Million, who we're doing the More Than Masterminds with.
Absolutely.
He's a John Maxwell certified coach. So it's like that I believe will help, you know, the more of a healthy marketing side to this space with character development, leadership, the same way that Zig Ziglar and a lot of these guys help save entrepreneurs from a lot of bad reputation, is the way we need more. You need more of connection between the centralized corporate community world, the best of what's happening there, and this DeFi decentralization world. You do need collaboration. And And those, so seeing Starbucks come into this, whether people like Facebook, Meta or not, it's people trust these people with their data on a regular basis, with their credit cards, with those things. So the more these bigger brands come in, it's good. That's going to accelerate that.
Yeah.
And then so leading to how people are going to utilize the metaverse and NFTs, it could be as simple as instead of just going to Amazon or going to Whole Foods, you're literally putting your Oculus on. Instead of ordering online or going, you're actually having a submersive experience. You're saying hi to people in the metaverse while you're taking things off of the shelf or virtually trying things on your avatar body,
Right.
liking the way, whatever that looks like seeing those like seeing collaboration. So we're going to come into a time where you're not going to be able to tell where one company starts and company ends, because we're coming into an age of collaboration.
I see.
So we're going to also see that with the cloud in the ground, where there's going to be, instead of everybody getting stuck in the cloud and only operating here or only being on the ground, we're going to probably see a combination of people buying real estate in the metaverse, going to their virtual player and they're putting that in. They're meeting with friends around the world, visiting education. I think think about if you just brainstorm on what this could do for education. Before a lot of kids can't afford to go overseas to have a lot of the opportunities that major colleges or like these Ivy League schools or these opportunities. But imagine a 12-year-old kid, 11-year-old kid being able to tour London in the metaverse, or speak to some of his favorite people, but he couldn't regularly speak to them, but he's getting holographed recordings of some of these great innovators. So that's just a little piece. Seeing your favorite group live in New York City at Times Square, but being able to put on your Oculus on New Year's Eve instead of like just sitting in your living room.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
No, that's fantastic. It paints a whole new world. Now, my final question for you, and I do appreciate your time. I know your schedule is pretty hectic today, but I wanted to ask you, and I usually ask all of my guests this question. Generally, when we say we're going to hook up, and thank you for coming on the EntreMusician, there might have been something in your mind that you said, I know Jerry's going to ask me this question, and I didn't for whatever reason. And so we call that the unasked question. Can you answer the unasked question? Because I didn't bring it up and you really wanted it out there.
Well, I have a feeling there's a lot of kingdom-minded people that are watching this. And like I have a friend that really spoke into my life and said, look, Brandon David, God gave this to us. And if we don't do something with it, somebody else will. You have probably complained at some point, if you're watching this, like many of us have. Why did it have to be Mark Zuckerberg who founded this? Or why Elon? Or why this? Or why that? Why not somebody that has more of a heart for the higher things and the higher things?
Yeah.
Why? Well, guess what? Why aren't you doing something about it now? And so this goes to you too, not just Jerry B, but I'm speaking to you, whoever's watching this. If you have a heart for God, for the kingdom, to change this world, and you're not diligently diving into this, why not? This is the time. This is the biggest wealth transfer that's ever happened. People who believe and don't believe, or wherever they're out on that whole process, many people are recognizing that. So why not you? Instead of criticizing the people that you don't have proximity to, or looking at the headlines, they just encourage you to really take the time and own this, because this is what's going to change the world. Leveraging, if you were like, hey, I didn't get to be part of it in the 90s, I didn't get to be part of it in the whole social media, Napster to Facebook, Instagram, I wasn't on it like Gary Vee.
Right.
Now you are. And you're not behind. Like, like many people have said, they feel like they need to, like they're behind. No, you just got caught up. You just got caught up. So do something about it. And if there's a way we can help you on the journey, don't hesitate. Jerry B, reach out to Jerry. He will help connect the dots. And let's go.
Man, that's absolutely beautiful. I knew this was going to be a great conversation, and I know your time is very valuable, brother, and I appreciate you spending this time with us. I hope, however, Brandon, this won't be our last conversation, because I still have other questions about it, and I'm sure those who are watching, as we get deeper and we really now begin to accelerate, as you told me before we push record, Jerry, accelerate. As we accelerate together as EntreMusicians, I'm sure I'll be able to say, hey, Brandon, can you come back and explain this to all of us? Because if I have the question, I know that the people who are following this podcast, they may have the same question. So
absolutely. And anything we can do to help the EntreMusician community accelerate and grow, we're here for you. And like we say in Cleveland, Nashville, Miami, and around the world, to be continued.
To be continued. Well, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Visit musiccitycrypto.com today and get in to see what Brandon and all of his collaborators are doing. They have some very, very wonderful material that's going to help get you started and get you on the on-ramp if you're not already there. Peace and blessings to you, Brandon. And blessings to you. I knew you were going to enjoy that. My name is Jerry B. I want you to like, subscribe, share this video. If you're not yet on crypto, rewind. Hear the information that Brandon had for us today. And as I said before, go to musiccitycrypto.com today. My name is Jerry B. I am the EntreMusician. Brandon David is an EntreMusician. But the important thing is, so are you. We will see you again next time. God bless.